Here we are, ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls, at the second last SEPP Cooking Show as part of the Nantian Cultural Festival. And we're going to have a quick chat about the spiritual and environmental community of practice. And also Ling is going to be doing a super shake, the rocket fuel you need for 2022 to get you through. And we think we might patent it and sell it to Elon Musk for his spaceships. So then he can say his spaceships are green. And here we are, have the 366 Days with Wisdom from Venerable Master Hsing Yun. And 1st of January and 2nd of January, just quite appropriate what the entries are here. Each 1st of January, each day one needs to speak kind and gentle words. Each day one needs to do what is beneficial. And this is infused into the spirit of SEPP, our spiritual environmental community practice. And so thinking about how we might feel about the modern crisis, climate change, and the feelings of overwhelm, the feeling like it's all too much, I can't do anything, what do I know, etc., etc. But here, this spirit of doing things that are beneficial in any case, because this is how we can make a choice to live our life. That's basically, for me, that's what that is saying. And even though we as humans must create hope for tomorrow, what is more important, in fact, is to create hope and happiness beginning from today. One could do many things by oneself today. And January the 2nd, in doing all good deeds, I begin by myself. In rectifying all misdeeds, I begin by myself. And this is once again embedded in the spirit of what we're doing with spiritual environmental preservation practice, is that we can take responsibility, we can integrate and come to terms with the feelings of distress, the solastalgia, the overwhelm, and what have you, and we can develop a relationship with them so that we acknowledge them, we honour them, we love them, and then we can still go forth with what it is that we want to get on with to participate in the journey to the Symbiocene. And this morning we thought we'd just run through the kitchen as a place to practice and what we can put into action. So we just sat down and drew up a list of what we think are the kinds of things that are environmentally friendly that we've aimed to put in place in the kitchen. Of course, there's always more to go, but nonetheless, when you start to write down the list, it's quite encouraging. So let's think about chemicals, for instance. So our dishwashing liquid is biodegradable. That's one of the big things. So there's chemicals that, because often the chemicals are synthetic chemicals, haven't been on the planet for 10 million years. They've only been created by humans in the last 50, 100 years. And often enough, they're not biodegradable. So we want things that are biodegradable, and that's a big deal in terms of living in mutual benefit with the planet. And also, Ling's mentioned already non-stick coatings on fry pans. When you read about those PFOAS chemicals, you'll be shocked and be wondering why they're not on the banned list, because they are harmful to humans and the other people in the environment, the cats and the dogs and the what have you, and they're very persistent as well. Also, just in terms of plastic, we've talked about the loofah. So we grew this in our garden. It's a bit raggedy, but it's still doing its job. And here's the lining up the next loofah to get underway. This one's still got a bit of the skin from the melon on it, and it needs to be processed and cleaned up a bit, but then we would be using that for dishwashing as well. And we're doing composting as well, so we're set up for that. Might not be composting that you can do, maybe you can do bokashi instead. And there's a lot of things in our kitchen which people have passed on to us. So it's like getting hand-me-downs. But this is a way of reusing and extending the life of all these things that have been manufactured and end up in our lives. And if we can pass them on to someone else who's going to put them to use instead of just chucking them out, then, well, that fulfills the first precept, do not kill. The other side of that coin is to respect life. And so we can respect the life of material things as well. And the other thing, as we were just running through all these things that have been handed down to us, is all the stories that go along with it. So it's not like, oh, I bought this at somewhere, blah, 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 and it costs this much. No, it's richer than that. This chopping board came from Granville Men's Shed. And its story is, it came from somebody's place after they died, and it went to the men's shed and they refurbished it. Refurbished the chopping board by, sanding it down and making it look good, and then it's come into our possession. We've had this for some years now. And then there's lots of things. We could spend like an hour going through all the stories about the different things that people have given us and that we still have in progress, in use, extending their life. These chairs that the cat here is playing on, Ling bought these second hand from a lady, and she was like so happy that, because she didn't really want to get rid of them, but the time had come, and she was so happy that she got a little bit of money, and she knew that the chairs are going to have an extended life. And, well, glass jars, we have like an excess of glass jars if anybody likes some. But of course, when you buy things in glass, the glass jar is like eminently reusable. So this is one thing we'll be able to keep on shifting away from plastic. That's a long-term project. But like our nuts and seeds and things like that are in glass jars that have had peanut butter or whatever in them. Now, something else is the stove that we have. This is not so easy to change in your house, but when we came to this house, there's no gas from the street, and to put the gas in was going to be prohibitively expensive. Even though Ling would prefer to cook with gas, nonetheless, we've got an electric stove, and we're quite happy about that because if it's electric, you can purchase renewable electricity if you're able to run your electric stove. Whereas, of course, gas, oh dear, we're thinking about fracking, and if we can do something not to be able to buy fracked gas, well then that would be a plus in my mind. Olive oil, so Ling's bottle that she's got the olive oil in, she's had this for quite some years now, and she buys olive oil in a can and then decants it into that as a dispenser, and the can, being metal, can be recycled. And the plastic packaging, whenever we're buying things from the supermarket, everything just about is plastic, even though it might look like paper. But nonetheless, Coles and Woolies have got that bin where you can put your plastic packages back in there, and they'll turn them into benches and things. But there's also choices to make. The curtains were here in the house, before we moved in, and Ling made the choice to say, well, these are in pretty good shape, these curtains. She likes green.
That makes it easy.
And so we're still reusing them. Some of them have been adjusted with the second-hand sewing machine that she's got to suit the new windows that we've put in. And so you can see, you know, if we went through all the things, all the people who've contributed here, is actually we have a community around, like, passing things on. And, you know, it's like it builds that sense of community for us about how we're all participating in this great journey. So it's like it's not just a nice thing to do to hand on something, but it's also participating in the journey to the Symbiocene by respecting life of products and materials, and not getting newly manufactured things all the time. Okay, time for Super Shake.
Can I actually add 3 things to it? Thomas, can I have the paper in your hands? Thank you. Yeah, can I add 3 more things to it, please? One is actually this paper is actually recycled paper, and the clip as well that from the office in Parramatta that they actually clean up the office. And this cat is also recycling as well, because she actually came to us. We did not actually go and get her. She decided to come and live with us, and she loved these chairs. She used them to sharpen her crows. And this one.
So that's the thing about having second-hand chairs. Cats, you know, sharpening his claws on it, you're not too fast.
Yeah, and that is from Pauline. She actually did not want them anymore. She took that from her house, from her country. And that is actually from John from Earth Care. There's so many things that even those teapots over there too, lots of things that is actually hand-me-down or just came to us maybe by surprise, maybe intentionally, just as it is.
And don't worry, Kissy, we don't regard you as a second-hand cat.
Kissy is a princess, actually. You know, she learned to be so smart that she would just actually, she can hip over the fence, right? But she chose not to. She would knock on the gate and go meow, meow, meow. And we have to go outside of the door and open the gate for her. Whereas if you're not here, she can just jump over the gate and help herself in. Funny cat, right? Okay, now this morning, same thing. I would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land from the past, present, and emerging, wherever we are, whoever we are. Let us pay our respect and acknowledge, our elders past and present, and the traditional owners of the land and our ancestors. Now, I would like to actually start with we actually, has been for the last 8-9 days that we actually have thought of what we're going to cook, what we actually going to have. So thinking about the name this morning, we were actually going thinking, not this morning, like 10 days or 2 weeks ago. Is it going to be Super Shake? Is it going to be a New Year Shake Up? Or is it going to be Shake Up the New Year's? So what is it that in the name? What is it that in the name? Like Tom mentioned the Tesla. What is it in the Tesla? Did someone actually did the name, was the name come first, or was it that the content and whatever it is, the energy that built up that name? So that's what we're actually going to look at today. What is it is in the name? What is it that make it super? Yesterday, or a couple of days, or a couple of days before, I was actually mentioning something from Master Hsing Yun, from this book, which is Xing Yu Feng, Li Yu Song, Zhou Yu Zhong, Gua Yu gong. So what it is actually mean is actually when we actually walk, can we actually walk like the winds? You know, so we actually not disturbing anything. We're just passing by. We not even want to disturb the ants. That is the compassion for you. Li Yu Song, when we stand up, can we standing up tall and straight and strong with the strength like the pine tree that we're talking about yesterday, where it's actually bending with the wind and the storm. Zhao Yu Zhong, can we, when we sit, can we sit like a bell? The bell is actually made of metals and it lasts thousands of years. And in Buddhism, bell is actually significant where we actually have got the morning bell and the evening bell. It have got a different reason why we actually sound the bells in the temple. And Gua Yu Gong is actually when we lie down, right? You know, the Buddha, when he actually lie down to sleep, he lie down like this with his leg straight and a little bit bent. That is actually like the bow. It is actually lie like a bow. The bow, not the arrow. So that is what I was actually looking for the word yesterday. That's what I actually wanted to share with you today. Okay, what is it that make the shake super? Anybody? Is it the silence? Is it the 5 elements? Is it the noise? What is it?
Colors. All the different colors.
All the different colors. That is actually will make it super. What is it that will make us super? What is it that will make the shake supers? What is it that make the Tesla super? Maybe Tom can tell us. Maybe Bill can tell us. Maybe Mary can tell us. What does it mean by super? Is it the super that we're looking at as the strength outside or the strength within? Is it the strength with the community that we actually have, like our Dharma sisters and brothers, our community of practice, like the Sangha community? Why do we have Sangha community? Is it that powerful? Is that super? I believe so. So you know, super or not, it's really, in my opinion, it's up to what we think and what we give the names to it. Right? No? Okay. Now, super for me today, this morning, when we actually making shake, I would just add this and that, this and everything. And I wonder who can guess who this one would be. Who would this shakes going to? There's 2 bottles here.
Well, when we're talking about fresh fruit and veggies, we're talking about super.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, superfood.
Yeah, well that's right. Superfood is a bit of a marketing name, but like a piece of broccoli is a superfood.
Yep.
The red dandelions are superfood, and apricots are superfood. It's raw and nutritious.
Thank you. Yeah. So what is it that we consider to be superfood? So what I'm actually doing here, is it a superfood? So I'll just leave that to you. What is it that make it super? Like this pawpaw here that I've actually picked from home a couple days ago. When I'm actually cut it open, I can see flowers.
It's lovely.
It's so beautiful. The colors combination, it's really, really beautiful. For me.
And let's say good morning to Nissa. Welcome. Good to see you. Hello.
Hello, Nissa outside. She's actually outside beautifully. And look at the insides of the pawpaw. It's empty and it's actually have no seeds. So you know, like what you know, when we actually, if this pawpaw is actually not empty, don't have the space, would we call that a super pawpaw? Would we call it what would we call it? So, you know, like, what does it mean, super? What does it mean by shaking up? It's really, it had to be a meaning to individuals in my mind. You know, and then people actually buy into it. For me, it had to be the strength within. It had to be naturals. It had to be that it make us healthy in the mind, in the body, in the heart, and then it actually have to be you know, friendly to environment, friendly to ourselves, and also you know, having that variety, like in the garden. You know, if we actually have that combinations of this, combination of that, the gardens actually will look healthy. And the same thing as in our diet as well. If we only actually sticking to banana only, nothing else, or if we actually stick to ginger only, nothing else, or we stick to one particular thing only, nothing else, would that be healthy? This morning, without asking Tom, I'm actually going to add the Happy Gut Life.
I wouldn't want you to get the impression that Ling is always asking me whether or not she can do things. That would be entirely the wrong impression.
Tom always have the last word in the house.
Yes, dear.
So, what is it that make the shake super? Is it the combinations of everything? Is it the strength? Like my fingers, if I'm actually smart enough to have one fingers and use it to pointing to people and tell people, do this, not do this, I would actually call it, is it super? Or if I have got, you know, my 5 fingers and I can actually open and shut and I can actually use it as a chopsticks, or I can actually use it, you know, to pick up something. If one fingers, how can I pick up my popo? How can I pick up, you know, something? So would that call power or super? If I have 10 hands, 10 fingers, I mean, if I have 10 fingers, 2 hands, I can clap. And I can pick up lots of things. And I can let it go. Because if I don't let it go, how could I have my hand free to use for this? Screw this one up. So what is it that is super? What is it that make it super shake? Is it because I have got lots of support? I have got lots of friends? Is it because lots of people likes me? What is it that is actually super or like the shakes? Cheers. There you go. That is actually for Tom. One mouthful is actually super food for me. I don't need the whole lot. I just need one mouthful.
Smells good.
The rest actually will be for Tom.
Tastes good.
Thank you, Thomas. What can you taste, Thomas? Can you taste the catchy lamb?
I can taste the bitter melon.
Yeah, it's actually quite bitter in there because I use the bitter melons in there. And I use the herb that is actually quite bitter. You know, like the vanilla is actually quite bitter. And the this ginseng plant is actually quite bitter as well. So having said that, I'm just going to put a couple in there. And because I like deals, I'm going to put a lot more deals in there. But having said that, I don't want my shake to overwhelmed by the deals. And because I have got, you know what, the reason I'm actually put ginger in Tom's shakes is that Tom actually, I put lots of greens in Tom's shakes. So it's actually will be very cooling. And the reason I'm actually put gingers in there to bring it into balance where it's not too cooling for his body. For mine, I've actually have got all these, pawpaw and all these grapes and everything. And I have mangoes in there as well. I did not share my mango with Tom today. And I'm going to put the bananas in there. So my one is actually not going to be cooling. It's not the energy of it. That's a word for it. It's not going to be cool, too cool. Han. In Chinese, we call it Han. So I'm actually not worried about putting gingers in there. Not because I don't like gingers. Now with the chili leaf, would you call that superfood? Would you call that super? Chili leaf, you can actually use them for soup. I'm going to put them into shake this morning. The reason I'm actually cutting these brands of the chili because it doesn't look very happy. So I'm actually also popping into my shake as well. I've actually love chili soup, chili leaf soup. It's quite yummy. It is quite something. Is it super because I'm going to pop the chilies in there? Not. I'm not going to do that.
Why not, Lynn? Come on, be a devil.
That is actually the coconut yogurt. Yeah, I'm adding the coconut yogurts in there. And sometimes we actually, a couple of years ago, I have got some fundings to run workshops for the country women in Richmond. Yeah, in Penrith, Richmond area. So, we actually, I was doing raw cooking, nothing cooked. So I was concentrating making green soups. So raw green soup. It was very interesting. And the woman actually, first, this woman, right, their country woman and their country people, they were actually quite concerned that, how am I going to get our husbands to eat green soup, because they love meat and they're big meat eaters. And I said to them, don't have to worry, you're not forcing them to eat, you invite them to eat, and you are the woman, you are in charge in the kitchen. So don't tell them what it is. So we actually have greens like that.
There's a secret. Don't tell them what it is.
Don't tell them what it is. Yeah. So we put chilies in there, we put garlics in there, and lemons in there, and different things. Every day we're actually making different things, and we shake them up, and serve them in the bowl. Serve it in the bowl and decorate it with some greens on top, and serve it with a spoon. And the woman came back week after week saying that how much their husband enjoyed the soup. So here I got it. Thanks to the solar panel, thanks to the sun power, thanks to the sun power. Cheers to New Year's, and cheers to the sun power.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year's.